is Sandra Kahundakaba, UBC Business.
Well, glad you're still with us. Very interesting there. Very rare to hear things like this, especially with scholarships in the aviation industry. But with me in studios are two gentlemen, captains. Yes, not captains of the army, no. All right, next to me is Captain George Mazige, and he is the chief flight instructor. Who will be, of course, talking to us along with Philip Gill, who is the CEO, Pangea Aviation Academy. They're both from Pangea Aviation Academy. You're very welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
You look very smart. And,
thank you.
One of my colleagues here is like, I want to be like that.
Well, I think this is one of the benefits. It's a very smart profession. It's nice to be in, and you get to dress up like this every day and go to work as a professional. So it's nice.
Now we're going to find out, current situation of our aviation, rather sector or flying sector, as we can call it. So I want the people to see you, the people that are watching. So I'll politely ask you to put us off, so that we can proceed with our interview. First of all, I asked a question, but I'll flip it. I'll first of all ask, when we talk about Pangea, what are we talking about? And then we'll come to the name itself after that.
So Pangea Aviation Academy, it's the new name and new branding for our original school, which was called Kajansi Flying School. Kajansi Flying School was one of the first and longest running privately owned flying schools, licensed by the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority in Uganda. And in 2015 we decided we wanted to up the opportunities and offerings to Ugandans, and we rebranded it as an aviation academy, the Pangea Aviation Academy.
So when we say Pangea, what are we talking about?
So
rather, how did you come up with that? I want to know what it means.
So the idea behind the name is actually, we think, quite clever, because the aviation industry is one of those industries that allows you to go all around the world. It allows you to really make the world a smaller place, and Pangea is the name for the original supercontinent when all of the continents were together as one. So it makes your world a little bit closer together, and if you learn these skills, they will take you all around the world and make the world a little bit closer for you.
Interesting. So you're now an academy. How is this going for you? You're an instructor.
It's going on well, and we are happy to contribute to the aviation industry, especially in the area of training, and the response from the public is good, and we are working.
Okay, so I had a very, in my mind I was thinking, how many people come to you to train to become pilots or get, private licenses? How many people per, I don't know how do you do it?
We at Pangea we have 4 intakes in a year. We have 4 intakes in a year, and we accept a minimum of 10 students per intake. So in a year we admit about 40 students for the private pilot license currently.
So how easy is that for you? Because you're dealing with people that probably come with excitement. What are those things that you feel should come as a requirement anyway?
I know a lot of people are green about aviation, but when someone comes to us with interest in doing the private pilot licenses, there are a couple of things that we look up for. First of all, they go through an aptitude test that we take them through at the academy, and then they have to go through a medical exam with a certified CAA medical examiner. But on top of that, we sit down with them and have an interview with them, and to see whether they have the passion to train, because aviation is an expensive career, and it takes someone to have passion to train, because we get a couple of students who come to us because the parent wants them to become pilots, but the passion is not there. So you may find at the end of the day, we cannot make that person a pilot because they are not really interested into it. But we sit down and talk to the students and also the sponsors about that. So what someone needs to have is, number one, the aptitude test that the aptitude that we test with the aptitude test, the passion to fly, and then finally the discipline, because aviation is a highly regulated
Don't you have people that have fears but still show up? They're afraid, but they still show up.
Yeah, we get quite a good number of those, but some of these fears can be like the fear of heights.
Yeah.
Some of these fears
deep down I was thinking that's my biggest fear.
Some of these fears can go away with continuous training. Me personally, I also had the fear of flights when I joined flight school, but in a few flights, it was all gone.
See how it's going in a few flights, like it's so easy. Well, what did you identify as a gap, to look at Pangea here as a problem solver, as a solution?
Yeah, so what we had noticed that in Uganda the aviation industry is growing, of course with the national airline. There's been big policy decisions here in Uganda that really want to invest in aviation, which is great. It's going to provide lots of middle-income jobs, professional jobs, highly skilled jobs, and we wanted to be part of that solution because with so much investment from the government coming in this, we decided that they're going to need trained people power, men and women, to be trained in this industry, to fill those jobs that the government are going to make available to the youth of Uganda. So we decided that we had to be part of that solution and offer these courses all the way through to professional pilot courses very soon, which will allow people to go into these jobs.
Yeah, what are some of the courses that you have?
Currently at Pangea, we are offering the private pilot license. Now this is the first license a pilot gets. It allows them to fly privately, and then thereafter there's the commercial pilot license, which we are starting in September. We have authorization for that. And this license enables the pilot to fly commercially, and then thereafter there's the instrument rating where a person can fly basing on instruments. But in the future we have plans of rolling out the dispatch license for dispatchers and many other aviation courses.
Okay. Do you have government sponsored students or things like that?
Currently we do not have directly government sponsored students, but we've had a few individuals that have had State House sponsorship, but we do not have direct governmentally sponsored students like the students that go to Makerere or and all the other public universities.
Okay, it probably has to be a whole other arrangement there. So what are some of the challenges you experienced starting out? Because you say it's 2015 that you say, well, we should be an academy, but let's look at some of the challenges within this, how people took this on, the reception of it and things like that.
Okay, well I think some of the challenges we had, of course, we're working in a very highly regulated industry, which means that we have to work closely with our regulator, the Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. These inspectors are very, very stringent because they have to uphold global safety standards. So it took us a long time to get the approvals that we have so far. We went through many, many audits of our syllabus, of our instructors, of our capabilities. And that was one of the big hurdles to overcome. But eventually we've been awarded the training certificate that allows us to train Ugandans. And that was one of the major challenges. But it's a process that everybody has to go through. It's a very fair process, and we made our way through it.
You don't have any challenges, though, with the kind of policies that are there? Any particular policies that you feel maybe there's a bit of, strain or gaps there?
I think maybe one of the policies that could be slightly adjusted to help us is actually a great policy for Uganda as a nation. But if there was a potential way that we could have access to with our school to have government sponsorships or government scholarships, a bit like they have in Soroti Flying School, that would assist us to grow our abilities as well. And it's not that we want to compete with Soroti Flying School, we just want to add the much needed capacity to produce pilots with the upcoming airline. So I think that would be something that would really help us as a school and allow both schools in the country to really grow and produce more pilots.
Okay, so general picture of the aviation industry in Uganda.
Oh, the aviation industry in Uganda, it's a little small, but it's growing. There's signs that it's projected to grow much bigger than it is right now. That is why we come in at this early stage, so that in the future we do not get stuck with the lack of aviation professionals. But right now it's a little bit slow, but it's on. In the positive side, it's going up.
Looks much brighter than it did in the past, eh?
Indeed.
Most of your students were probably going all over the world and not working here. Interesting. So what are some of the benefits if someone decided to go to Pangea? What benefits would they gain from training with you, being a part of your training?
First of all, Pangea, apart from giving world-class training, we also have a sister company called Kampala Executive Aviation. So that's mostly where our students go after they train with us. So they have first priority in that company. So we try to make sure that we train them to a level that they can be accepted by our sister airline. And it being a sister airline, they have first priority. So the issue of one looking for employment after training with us is a little solved. Okay. And also from Pangea, we have a good location. We are located in Kajansi, just in between Entebbe and Kampala. So we can have clients that cannot go full-time out of the country or up country to Soroti. Well, they can come and train with us probably over the weekend. We have tailor-made courses to accommodate all individuals. So our location is also a big advantage. Is also a big advantage for us.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Now, you did have about 25 graduating last month. Tell me more about that.
Last month we had our first graduation. Since the inception of the school in 1997. But total we have trained over 250 pilots. But
why choose to do this now?
Before Pangea or Kajansi Flying School was a flying club, but we are turning it into a real academy, and the graduation was one of the things that we did to take us to that level, to let the public know that we are serious about this and that we want to be a full academy. So last month we graduated our first 25 students, and they graduated with their private pilot licenses. They are moving on with their commercial pilot licenses, and we are happy that we are getting there.
That's a good achievement, really. So scholarship, tell me about the scholarship.
Yeah, so the scholarship is it's our way of giving back and making sure that we're here to support the industry. It's going to be growing rapidly. It's a really exciting time to be in the industry. And we wanted to make sure it was available to everyone in Uganda. So we know pilot courses can be expensive. So with this offer of a free scholarship, which would cover all professional fees, we will be making this more accessible to everybody. And all you have to do is come and join our Facebook page, where it gives you full instructions on how to take part in this contest. So far we've had hundreds and hundreds of applicants that have come through and started to compete, and the scholarship is going to be open until the 31st of August, which is another 3 weeks chance, because we wanted it a long time to be open so many people could capture this news and capture this opportunity.
So out of all these people, are you going to choose out anyone, or anyone can actually?
So it will be a totally objective process. The idea is we've asked for them to come and join and follow us for our news, which gives us a way to feed back the winner of the competition. We've asked for a 500-word essay on how they will pay this back to benefit the nation once they've got this scholarship and graduated from their private pilot license. And this is our way to give back.
To give back to the community. Well, since 1997, that is something. Okay. So I want you to talk more about what people should expect. If, for example, if I wanted to join flying school, what should I expect from there? You know, how do I prepare myself? Because sometimes, like we talked earlier, it's excitement, you know, because someone's saying, well, I want to be in that uniform, I want to, you know. But how does one get to prepare themselves for something like that? Because it's a huge deal. Basically, handling people, you know, that are relying on you at the end of the day. Any form of transportation, don't get me wrong.
First and foremost, that individual should have the passion to fly, just like any other career. If you do not love your job, you will not succeed in it. And then, like I said earlier, they should be disciplined, because we've had to discontinue training of a couple of students because of the discipline, because aviation is highly regulated, and we all know we are not birds, we are not supposed to be up there. So it is through doing what is right that we are kept there. So it's a really, aviation is very sensitive on safety. So they have to have that discipline in them, because there are limits that the aircraft has, and there are also limits that the pilot should have. And then thereafter, medically, they have to be, there's a minimum of medical fitness that an individual should have, and this is tested by the aviation doctor. And for us, our job is to check if the individual has the appropriate aptitude to train. So there's a minimum aptitude that someone should have to qualify to be admitted into flight school. And then thereafter, an individual needs to provide time and also dedication and all that, because just like any other career and any other training, you have to make sure that you better yourself each and every day. The instructors can do their part, but you, the individual, you have to also do your part.
I think that's a very key point. We have a great team of instructors who are there to teach you about aviation, give you the knowledge you need, the practical skills you need, and teach you in a disciplined way. But if you're not disciplined and self-dedicated, you won't be able to succeed. There's so much knowledge that you need to know, so much information you need to learn, and so many skills you need to gather in a short period that it can't all be given to you by your instructor.
How long is that, though?
So a private pilot course will take about 4 months to be able to graduate, and then you'll be allowed to go and fly an aircraft with your friends and family and take people, and you'll be taking people and you'll be in charge of their lives. And a commercial pilot course will take about 12 to 18 months, depending on the dedication of the student. And that's about how fast they can consume the knowledge, so they need to be studying in the day and in the night, and be very, very self-disciplined.
Okay, so you're focusing on the flying bit of it, not the engineering, not the other things that come with aviation.
So with aviation training, with pilot training, you will learn a lot about engineering, a lot about aircraft systems, a lot about basic engineering principles, but mainly we're there to talk about pilot knowledge and pilot skills, which is meteorology, navigation, aircraft systems, and then practically how to fly an aircraft, how to control it with your hands and feet and mind to make sure it goes exactly where you want and to make sure we're flying safely.
Sounds difficult.
It is very difficult, but it's very, very rewarding. Once you've learned to do this, it's very rewarding.
As difficult as it is, and you go like 4 months, 3 months, I'm like, how? That is determination.
You know, I think we should have you come down and take a trial lesson, and then we can let people know.
I would freak out. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you real quick, finally, to talk about the now Pangaea Flying School or Academy, which of course many people could probably still relate to Kajansi Flying School, and why people should involve themselves into this sort of thing. Why should people? Because so many people think, oh, well, if I went for pilot school, it's for specific people. You know, that's what we have in our minds. Everyone runs to the same thing, engineering, doctors, blah blah. Because it seems easier, and yet it's all difficult stuff. So why should people try and change their mindset in this? Why should people be interested in something like this?
Indeed, aviation, just like any other career, it's not the traditional career choice of most of our Ugandans. And I think it stems from the career guidance that we get in our schools. But if you look at aviation as an industry, it is one of the fastest growing industries in the world and also in the country, and it is projected to be one of the highest performing industries in a few years to come, because people are going to travel more by air, people are going to transact big business more. So it is a virgin area for Uganda currently, and now this is the time for a young Ugandan out there to get into this career. Many of us did not have the opportunity of someone talking to us on TV or coming to school to talk to us. But this is a huge advantage and opportunity for individuals out there to come and join the aviation career. And with the scholarship that we are going to provide for one of the for one of the Ugandans, for one of the Ugandans, it's just like one small block on the whole aviation industry in the country. But it's just targeted to motivate more people to come and join this industry. It's a beautiful industry, and there are a lot of career paths that someone can choose, but flying and becoming a pilot is one of them, and it is projected that there will be a very huge shortage of pilots in a few years to come. And in Uganda as a country itself, with the coming of Uganda Airlines, because the local airlines are probably complaining already, because when the Uganda Airlines came, they took quite a good number of pilots from the local airlines. So there is a huge gap of aviation professionals. So Ugandans should take it up so that we don't have to rely on foreigners from our neighboring countries or from wherever to come and take up these aviation opportunities.
Before you get into the last remarks, Captain, real quick, many Ugandans could be afraid of getting into it. Maybe they're saying it's quite expensive. But I would love to assume it pays off at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I think this is actually a very good point, a very important point. It's quite an expensive career to get into, but once you have the license, you become a very coveted person, a very coveted professional. People require your skills and your license, which allows you to go into a high-paid industry, which will pay you handsomely for the rest of your career, and it will only grow. And there's opportunities all around the world, as Captain Mazigi was saying, in China, in Indonesia, in Canada, in Nigeria. All of these places have a pilot shortage, as well as Uganda. So there's lots of opportunities for high-paying jobs, which will serve you for a career all the way up to the age of 65.
Interesting. Where do you see yourselves as Pangaea in the next couple of years, just not so far from now, seeing that you've achieved being an academy, you have very good students going out there?
In a few years to come, we see ourselves as the center of aviation excellence in the region, because that is our goal, to ensure quality and for our customers. So we see ourselves training not only pilots that are starting to train, but we could go to a level where we can train pilots on much bigger aircrafts. We could have simulators there. We could have many more aviation courses, like you talked about engineering. We could train aviation engineers there. We could train flight dispatchers there. We could train air hostesses there. We could train many
Fill
more.
the gap entirely.
Yeah, so it will be like the first of its kind aviation university in the country.
Very interesting. On that, in the next few years, where same thing?
Yeah, exactly that. We want to grow and fill gaps where is necessary. So we can provide these courses to train and give skills to Ugandans that are required for the industry. So that's our main push, to develop the school, to develop the academy, and to provide more and more scholarships as we go on. As we provide more courses, we'll be able to provide more scholarships, and we want to make it something truly accessible to all Ugandans, and we'll do that using the vehicle of scholarships once in a while when we can afford to do so as a school.
When I was going through some of your details there and pictures, I realized you have, is there a good balance both the men and the women getting into it. It's also another career, just like engineering, where it's mostly the men who say, well, I think I can do this, I think I can handle this.
We do not restrict, we do not segregate according to genders, we admit. But I think it happens naturally. We have a slightly low number of the female students at the academy. But I would like to encourage the ladies out there that this industry of one becoming a pilot.
Because most of them would rather be air hostesses, you know.
Yeah, but even ladies can fly. I've trained with a couple of ladies, and they have trained, and I've also trained with, and they have turned out to be much better pilots than the gentlemen. So this is a word of encouragement to the ladies out there that you can also join this career. There's nothing whatsoever that limits you. And even because of the low number of female pilots in the industry, a lot of airlines prefer to have at least a couple of lady pilots.
So it's actually quite demandable.
Yeah, I think it's an important point actually that we really encourage both guys and girls to come and go for this opportunity.
Yeah.
In fact, we have, I would say, around 25% of our incoming students are female and about 75% male, but we'd be very happy if that changed. As an interesting point though, in our sister company, Kampala Executive Airlines, we have a few female pilots, and in fact we have all female crews which fly our aircraft. So it's very possible to come join and then progress on and become professional pilots, both guys and girls.
Okay, so the intakes, when are they, each of them? When does each start?
Our next intake is in September. That's the last intake for this year. Then we have one in January, we have one in March, another in April, and then September again. Those are the 4 intakes that we have. But the next one is we are open for aptitude tests. If one is ready, they can come over come and visit us at the school and sit for their aptitude test exam. And if they are successful with the aptitude test and the interview, then we can start processing them through the process of getting their student pilot license. So that come September, we start the training.
So the applying process is easy?
Yes, it is. It is. You can go online, or you can just come down to Kajansi at the school. You book a date when you'll be ready to sit for the aptitude test. And the requirements, of course, you need to know some bit of English. English O-level. Math and English O-level credits, and then you at least about 17 years. We don't take people younger than that. 17 years of age is the minimum age that we take.
Okay. Interesting. So I'm sorry I cut you short there on the final word in regards to Pangea Aviation Academy, because he was able to speak for his part and then I interrupted. Finally, to the people that are watching you there in regards to the academy.
Okay, well, I think the main point is that this is a career that will put you into a high-paying job and a rewarding career for the rest of your life. If it's something that you've ever been interested in, we really implore you to come down to Kajansi, see the facilities, see our aircraft, meet our instructors, and make your application to become a pilot. We've put this scholarship opportunity out there, and if you go to www.facebook.com/Pangea Aviation Academy, you will find all of the rules for the contest, and this is available to everybody. So take your chance to win and come and join us.
Indeed. Thank you so much, gentlemen. At the extreme end, there is Philip Gill, who is the CEO, Pangea Aviation Academy, and right next to me is Captain George Mazige, who is the chief flight instructor. They've taken us through, the whole aviation sector, current situation, the policies, what they offer, as well as Pangea Aviation Academy. And of course, just a reminder that anyone can actually be a part of this. It's not something we should all shy away from. It's an industry that's growing, and hopefully even faster than we expected. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Indeed. And my time has run out. Rowena Kajumba is my name from me and the entire team. We do wish you a lovely day. You've been watching Business Today.